boys and girls. It's Miss Lisa, the art teacher. Welcome back to my table of art. Hey, this is camp week, isn't it? Week number 1? You had a little break from school. That must have felt good. And now we're on beach week. Wow, I'm excited about that. How about you? So you know what? The beach. What do you think of when you think of the beach? I think about the sun on my face. I think about the sand, the hot sand, my hands in the sand, feeling that gritty feel and the heat on the sand from the sun. I think about the waves in the ocean, the sound of the ocean. Very calming sound. I love the smell of the ocean, the salt water. I can almost smell it now. I could hear laughter. I could hear some whistles blowing from the lifeguard. What else do you think of when you think of the beach? Ooh, I know another one. The smell of suntan lotion, coconuts. Let me see if this has that smell. Ooh, yeah, suntan lotion. That's another one. Beach balls, buckets, shovels, sandcastles. Wow, there's a million things I could think of when I think of the beach. How about the ocean? What do you think about the ocean? Well, I think about jellyfish. Those are those little kind of see-through creatures that kind of just glide through the ocean with long tentacles. I think about crabs, crusty crabs with their little pinchy claws. I think about all the beautiful sea fish that are down in the deep ocean, and dolphins and octopus and all kinds of sea creatures. So you know what? How about we do something about the sea creatures under the sea? That's a great idea. You know what? There was an artist, Paul Klee. He did this painting about like these mysterious fish under the water, and he called them the golden fish. I have to show it to you. Hold on. This is Paul Klee's golden fish. This picture was painted using 2 kinds of paints. One was watercolors and one was oil paint. The watercolors are thinner and they're good for the see-through effects. Oil paints are thicker and good for the vivid colors. I think we're going to do a painting today, but I don't think we'll use oil paints. We'll use maybe our waxy crayons or oil pastels. This fishy painting is filled with imaginary sea life, but all the focus is on the big golden fish in the middle. Isn't it beautiful? The small fish and the plants that cluster around the edges, they're kind of like a decorative border. Looks really cool, right? Okay, so I already created an under the sea painting with all my sea creatures, and I'd like to share it with you, okay? Okay, this is my imaginary sea painting with all my under the sea creatures. I have an octopus. Do you see the pink octopus? I have the blue stingray, and I have a crusty little crab down on the bottom and some fish floating around the top. I have a little bit of seaweed and coral, and down on the bottom I have a starfish and even a little clam with a pearl inside. So if you notice, my octopus is really bright, a very vivid color. And on it, if you could see a little bit closer, I put some glitter because I wanted it to look a little bit like Paul Klee's golden fish. I only chose one to use the glitter on, so it's kind of special, like the golden fish. And I made the water a little darker so all these beautiful colors will pop a little bit more. So how about we get started with our under the sea seascape? Here we go. So we're going to need a few items to do this project, and it's not really hard. I'm going to send you a template that has the octopus and the stingray, because out of all my sea creatures, they might be the hardest to draw. But you could make your own imaginary sea creatures. You don't have to do mine. I'm just sending that for you as a little help. I'm also going to send you a big piece of white construction paper. This is where you can put your sea life on. If you have crayons, you're going to need your crayons because instead of the oil paint like Paul Klee used, we're going to use the crayons with the waxy substance inside that will resist the watercolor paint that we're going to use. And that brings me to the watercolors. You're going to need your watercolor paints and a brush and a fresh cup of water so you can clean your brush from the colors. You'll need a pencil and possibly an eraser so you can erase any mistakes. So, how about we get started? Sounds good to me. Okay, it's time that we get started. So I'd like to start first by drawing our sea creatures into our seascape. So if you're going to use the templates that I sent you, you're going to need to trace the template. And do you remember how I said to do this? This is the way you can do it without having to cut the template out. We're going to just draw right over the image on the paper that I'm sending over. Make sure you get the whole thing, that you don't miss any areas. Just trace over the image with your pencil. Try to use a dark, heavy hand because you want to make sure that everything is going to transfer onto the paper underneath, the large white paper that we're going to be working with. Do not worry about being perfect. See, I just missed a line. I'm not upset about it. I'm going to just continue tracing. Don't be upset if you don't do exactly on the line. Remember that. Don't get upset. Some of you might feel that you can draw an octopus on your own or an imaginary creature on your own. Go right ahead. I appreciate it if you do. I love to see how creative you can be. I love to see your imagination going wild, creating your own creatures under the sea. If you need inspiration, pull out a Disney movie. Watch The Little Mermaid. See what sea creatures they have in that movie. Ursula, for one. Boy, she's wicked, right? Okay, so I'll even put his face on. So I think I've got it pretty good. I think I've traced him pretty good. Now I'm going to decide where I want to place him. I think I'm going to pretty much place him in the same area. So now look what I'm doing. I'm turning this upside down onto the big white piece of construction paper. I could see through. I could see everything that's there. Which reminds me, he's facing in that direction. So I'm going to put him on the left side of my paper. So he's looking sort of that way. He takes up a large area over here. If I made him on the other side, it looks like he's going off the paper, and I want him to stay part of this scene. Now you're going to take your pencil and lay it sideways and rub against all the lines you made when you traced the octopus on the other side. Keep the paper in place with the other hand so it doesn't move too much. You can see where you traced, so try to just go right over those lines. And what's happening right now is we're transferring this image with the pencil on the other side onto the white construction paper. And I'll show you in a second. I'm going to hold this paper down so it doesn't move and just lift that so you can see. See the image being transferred onto the white construction paper? How cool is that? And let's continue doing that, holding our pencil on the side so we can just scribble really fast and transfer this octopus onto our construction paper. Super, super easy. Easy peasy, right? Look at that. Easy peasy. How you doing over there? You doing okay at home? Remember, if you need help, just ask somebody that's there with you. Maybe they can hold the paper while you scribble on the back, transferring the image. Did we get everything? Looks like it. Very good. Okay, so now we have our octopus on in our sea, under the sea picture. So I also have Mr. Stingray. So we're going to do the same with him. I'm I'm going to trace over my template, Mr. Stingray. Here's his tail and his flapping arms. And then we're going to transfer this into the construction paper. Remember to use a heavy hand when tracing so you can get a good image on the other side when we rub the back of the template and transfer the image. Okay, that was quick, right? All right, so now my octopus is on this side of the page. I think I'm going to put my stingray up on the top area right there. What do you think? Let's see if that works. Looks like they're looking at each other. Pencil on its side and rub the back side of the template so the image is transferred onto the white construction paper. Try to hold it in place so it comes out pretty good on the other side. How'd we do? Pretty good. Okay, so now I'd like to get my crayons and outline and color in these two creatures in my sea. You can choose any colors you want. I still like the pink, so I'm going to outline my octopus in the pink with the wax crayon. And while I'm coloring in my two sea creatures, I'd like you to do the same. So let's do that, and I'll meet you back here in a few minutes. Okay, guys, I've colored in my stingray and my octopus. So how about we start adding some waves to the background? They're under the sea, but the sea does have waves and ripples and currents that go back and forth. So I'm going to take some different shades of blue and just kind of make waves going through, different waves going through, making currents, different blues, different curvy lines going through, darker blues and lighter blues, giving it a sense of movement, like the water currents are creating movement to our image. And then we'll put a little brown because it's sort of like the bottom of the ocean, right across like that. And I'd like to add some seaweed. So seaweed kind of like flows upward. See how I have that going upward? Some tall seaweed, some short seaweed. And notice how that's also curvy, bendy. Kind of gives it a flowy feeling, like it's flowing vertically up. And if I color that in, I'm going to put a darker green on one side of the seaweed. We want to give it a little bit of the effect that it's not flat. It's moving with the curves through the currents of the water. And it's got light reflecting in on it, so it's darker on one side. And it's a little lighter on the other side. So I'm using a lighter shade of green. How does that look to you? Imagine the light is shining down from up above the ocean into the ocean, and it's hitting in this direction. So this is all illuminated on this side of my seaweed, but much darker on this side where the light from the outside sources are not hitting. You understand that? You see that? Here's the bottom of my ocean. There we go. See, I made the darker side on that side, the lighter side where the light comes in. Maybe we'll have a little crab down on the bottom here. And a crab would be very easy to draw. You could just make yourself an oval. See how I'm making the shape of an oval? Look at that. Then I could just make some lines coming out of my oval. They could be his arms leading from his claw. And I'll make the letter C on both of these. C's that are facing each other. Then I'll make a little C facing in towards the other C. And then we'll just fill in this one, make a deeper half crescent moon almost, and fill in the other C. And we've got crab's claws. And he has 6 little legs that come out from underneath him. What about his eyes? We could do 2 big circular eyes up on top. 1, 2. Presto, you've got a crab. How about some coral? Did you ever see coral under the sea? Coral kind of looks like a tree growing up with branches, lots of different branches. Wavy, ripply lines, not straight lines. Curvy, ripply lines. That's kind of like what coral looks like. And we could try to add some light and darks to our coral as well. Keeping in mind that the light may be coming in from this direction. Okay? So we'll look for a lighter shade of this red violet that I picked. Maybe a pink could even be a lighter shade of the red violet. Let's see how that looks with the coral. Oh, that looks really pretty. What do you think of the pink? So you use your imagination. You could add any colors, any shapes, anything you want in your seascape, okay? I think I might add some more of the seaweed coming up. It's a nice filler into the page. Some taller ones, some shorter ones. Still making one side darker, the other side lighter. Looking good, looking good. And a lighter lime color green. All right, how about we start adding some more fish? Now, a very easy way for us to add fish. Sorry, my glue is falling. Let's pick a color. Let's pick maybe a nice bright yellowy golden fish. And all you have to do is make a triangle laying on its side and an oval attached to it. You've got a fish. What do you think of that? We could also put a little triangle here. 2 fins. There you go. How about we give it some stripes? Some yellow and black stripes. What do you think of that? Make your fish any colors you want. It's your fish. Remember that. And they're imaginary fish too. That's my fish. Let's pick a color together. How about if we have this? We've got red, blue, yellow. Oh, our primary colors. Pinks, greens, orange. Let's add something that's orange. Maybe we'll have a whole little school of little fish. And those will be little triangles with ovals. Little triangles with ovals. Little triangles with our ovals. Little triangles attached to ovals. Color in our triangles. How easy is that to make a whole school of fish? That looks pretty good, right? Make all the imaginary fish you want. Now we'll just add some little eyes for all the little fishies. Okay, let's see. How about some bubbles? Let's give an effect that there's bubbly water, but little circles all throughout. We don't know where they're coming from, but we'll just use our imagination that they're coming from all these fish. Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. Makes it look cool, right? And crabs actually do bubbles too, because they have gills. I don't know if you knew that, but crabs have gills. Let's add some bubbles to our water. Okay, what else should we add to our seascape? There's a really cool coral that I've seen once before. It's kind of in the shape of tubes. So if you make a circle and a circle around that circle and create sort of like these tubes, one next to the other, and they all gather together on the bottom. This is another type of coral that I've seen under the sea. Really cool. We'll give it a little texture by making these lines. And then maybe I'll take a lighter shade and color in, maybe even a blue, a light blue, color in my purple coral. Oh yeah, that looks pretty. Look at that. And do you see how I made that coral? And I'll make the centers very dark. I made a circle within a circle. See that? A circle within a circle. And a large tube connected. And that created this other form of coral. This is another coral, and this is another type of coral. How about we add a shell And a shell has nice curvy edges and curvy edges in front. We'll give this one a nice, beautiful pink pearl inside. And we'll outline the bottom ridge and give it its base, as well as the lines on the top of the shell to give it a little depth. How do you like that? Like that one? So there's the shell in the water. We'll put a little sand line underneath him where he's sitting. Oh, a starfish. We didn't make a starfish. Let's put a starfish down here. How about we use this beautiful blue? And a starfish is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So now let's just round out the points because the starfish isn't really pointy. Extend his legs a little bit and we'll color him in. And there's our starfish. And I think we have enough for our scene. What do you think? So I'd say it's time that we get out our watercolors and we start painting, okay? What we're going to use is we're going to use blues, different shades of blue to color our ocean. And let's do different levels of color using our ripples to separate the colors we use. Top is usually brightest, so let's just take our blue and paint the top a solid blue. Okay? That's what I'm going to do, and I'd like you to do the same. If you happen to have a palette that has more than one blue, that is great, but not all these paint palettes have more than one blue on them. Now notice how the crayon is resisting the water. You could still see those bubbles shining through that we just painted over. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to another layer. So I'm going to take my blue paint and I'm going to put some color over on the side. And now I'm going to mix it with a little purple, which is going to make it a little bit darker than the first layer. You see that? See how dark that's coming out? That's because I mixed the blue over on the side with some purple. How cool is that? Mix your colors. Don't be afraid. Purple and blue. And paint right over everything within these waves that we created, these currents. So we kind of could make different layers of blue going down to the bottom of the painting. Nice effect. Going through the water, under the water. It looks like it's an undersea picture using the different layers. And the crayon resists. Everything's shining through. Pops of color. We're not losing the vibrancy of our crayon colors. This looks great, don't you think? I'm loving it. I hope you are. Next, we got to paint over those beautiful little goldfish. Okay, let's go down to another layer. So now, this color that we created with the purple and blue, how about we add a little black? Ooh, start out slow because black's a very strong color. And let's see it. There's a darker shade. Pretty good. Don't be afraid to add more water. Let it glide a little bit better for you. Mix your colors. Don't be afraid. We're experimenting. We're learning how to mix, blend, glide these colors. Color resist. Blue, purple, and black. Nice combination. Look at that. Notice that as we're getting down, there's also another color we should be taking into consideration for the sea. How about green? Did you ever see green tones in the water? Reflections of green? I have. So how about we add a little green to our blue? Nice. Look at that color. That's a beautiful color. I'm liking that one. How about you? You like it? Looks almost like a turquoise color. Greens and blues. Very pretty. Nice, nice, nice. Good, good, good. Beautiful, beautiful. Almost done here. We've got one more layer. See, I'm going right over this red crab, and that red is still as vibrant. I'm not blocking anything because of the crayon resist. It looks wonderful. Move my water over a little bit. How do you see? You see everything, how it's coming out? Looks pretty good, right? And then we have our last layer, which, you know what? I would like to stop and go back because I would like to color this section in just a little bit with the brown crayon because it is the bottom of the sea. And I don't want it to be completely blue. I want the actual sand and dirt to shine through. So I'm going to color the bottom. If you find that it's too wet, we should have colored this before. So if you find that it's too wet, wait till the paint dries and come back to this and color this last section. Okay? All right, that was a quick coloring. And now I'm going to take my blue and paint right over it, okay? I'm using the blue, the purple, and here we go, right over it. That's cool. Really dark, really nice. This is that dark color Paul Klee used in his golden fish painting, right? Do you remember that, the golden fish? It was a very, very dark background, but that shined, that golden fish shined right through like these goldfish and our octopus. And we don't even have that black background that he used, but we do have a dark background. All right, so everything's painted now. But remember, we want to take one of our sea creatures and we want to make it that golden creature like Paul Klee did with the golden fish. And the way we're going to do it, I'm going to pick my octopus like I did in my other sample. And when this is all dry, I'm going to use the glitter to make this really shimmer and shine and make the octopus the golden sea creature. Okay, so let's put our paintings down for a bit. I think this looks absolutely terrific. Let's let it dry, and then we'll come back and we'll add the glitter to the golden octopus. All right, kids, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, kids, I'm back. I've got my glitter, and I've got my glue. So now, what we need to do is we need to glue the areas of the octopus where we want to put the glitter. Now, this is your choice. This is not my decision. You may put the glitter anywhere you choose. And the way you do that is you do it with the glue. So I have glue with a little tab that I can guide, but it's not that easy. So I'm going to use my finger to spread some of this glue around because it's coming out really gloppy. So I'm using my finger to put the glue in all the spots that I want my glitter to stick to my octopus. And you might find that using your finger is easier too because you have a little bit more control of where and what you want. And believe me, when it comes to glitter, there's never too much. So let me put a little bit more on my finger. I'm putting a little bit of glue on my finger. And I'm bringing it down and around, up and around. There, there, there. I have it here. I think I want to put a little bit more right around here. And on my octopus's head right there. Okay, so let's get out our glitter. And we're just going to shake it over the areas of our octopus, or whichever sea creature you picked, and sprinkle it on. Oh, look how pretty that is. Look at how that glistens and glimmers and shimmers and shakes. Beautiful. And we're going to let this sit. We're not going to pick it up. We're going to let that glue dry with that glitter. Oh my God, look at how beautiful this is. Look how beautiful. I'll be sending you glitter in your art package. So not to worry if you don't think you have any at home. I'll send you some. I don't know what color you're going to get, but that's okay. They're all pretty colors. Look at that, how pretty. Very nice. Very, very nice. Oops, some up on his head. Okay, let's let that sit and dry, and we'll be back. Okay, so I think this is dry enough. And what we're going to do is a way you can save your glitter for another day is take a clean piece of paper, place it on the table, and shake your glitter out on that paper. This is how the octopus came out. He looks great. Now you have all this glitter that you've already taken off. And we're going to put it back into our little vial of glitter. So we'll bring it to the middle, curve your paper up. You might have somebody help you with this, okay? And pour it back into the... Pretty good, huh? There's some left on the paper. I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's a very tiny amount. But now you have this whole vial that you could use again for another project. And let's see how our octopus came out again. Wow, he really looks beautiful. So let's uncurl this. The paper, the watercolor makes your paper curl up a little bit. So as you're working on it, you may want to tape it down with painter's tape. Or when it dries, you could just try to uncurl it. Okay? So what do you think, boys and girls? How'd it come out? Under the sea. Under the sea. I think it looks pretty good. You and me under the sea. Well, guys, that's it for today. Hang on one sec. I just want to say goodbye. I want you to enjoy your week of beach week at camp, your first week at summer camp. Boy, I'm jealous. I wish I was there with you. So, have fun under the sea. Enjoy your beach week. And I'll see you next week. I hear you going camping. Wow, good thing, camping. See you then. Ciao for now from Miss Lisa's Table of Art. I'm going to the beach.